Hello again, welcome to the Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I want to say a huge thank you to Sam Williams for sending in these awesome pictures of his Imperial Guard army. This is what it's all about, guys. The serried ranks of the Imperial Guard, wave after wave of infantry ready to crush the heretic and the Zeniths. I love the fluff that Sam sent in with this. It was inspiring. In the opening days of the Damocles Crusade, the 13th Cadian often found itself at the tip of the spear where the fighting was thickest. The Tau believed that they were willing to sacrifice everything for their greater good. And the Imperial Guard showed them the true meaning of sacrifice. Mwah! I love it. I love it. It is awesome. This is honestly, I could go on and gush and gush and gush over these pictures because it just looks so good. That picture right there. That is what it's all about for me in the Guard. That is why I collect this army. It looks absolutely great. So thank you, Sam, for sending these pictures in. It looks absolutely epic. You've inspired me to get out there and get paying guardsmen again. So thank you. Without further ado, let's crack on with today's tactics video. Speaking of massed and serried ranks of the Imperial Guard, do you guys remember those lofty, those beautiful days when Imperial Guard conscripts were a viable unit? Nay, not even viable. We're a blue chip unit. Pepperidge Farms remember those days. Pepperidge Emperor remembers those days. Now those days they're long gone after the culling, after the incident where Games Workshop took the conscripts around the back of the shed and did what they did to Old Yeller. We haven't seen a lot of conscripts. The occasional person's made some wacky use of them, but generally speaking, they've not been worth it. How the times may have changed. You see, the problem with conscripts was that they were a 3-point unit that got put to a 4-point unit, but they couldn't really take orders, and their morale was just terrible. And to be honest, the morale thing was the big thing, because no one really expected conscripts to do a lot of damage, right? I mean, they're conscripts. I mean, even with orders, I've done this so many times. Even with orders, even with the first rank fire, second rank fire, and firing a ridiculous amount of shots, your conscripts would often roll, like literally from a 30-man blob, you'd roll like 120 dice at close range, and you would kill nothing, or you'd kill like one Marine, because at the end of the day, you're hitting Marine. If you're shooting a Marine in cover, you've got to hit him on a 5, so that's just 4. That's just 80 of those shots just gone. That's assuming everyone's in rapid fire. That's just 80 of those shots just gone. So you've got 40 left. Then you're wounding them on 5s, which is like, okay, what, 12, 13 wounds if you're lucky, and then your opponent gets a 2-up save. So at most he's going to lose 2. At most, and that's with everything going perfectly. And really, that's not, if you were taking conscripts to do damage, you weren't taking them for the right reasons. They weren't there to do damage. They were there to do 2 things: to provide masses of bodies to the Guard that they could use to screen effectively, or to dogpile objectives effectively. That's really what they were there for. They just get in your opponent's face and just really mess him up. That's what they were there for. But with the Commissar nerf, with the fact that conscripts basically had very little in the way of not running away. I mean, you could take Valhallans, you could limit yourself to 1 regiment, but they weren't worth that. They weren't worth limiting yourself to 1 regiment to make them worth a damn. So they eventually dropped off. Okay. Now the thing is that with the release of Inquisition, and I hinted at this in one of my other videos, with the release of Inquisition, morale is not such a big thing anymore. Morale is not such a big thing. You see, in the Imperial Guard Codex, you've got a psychic power. It costs 4. It's 4 warp charge. It's nothing. It's almost guaranteed to go off. It's called Mental Fortitude, and it just means 1 unit automatically passes the morale check. That's good, right? That's good for a unit of 30 conscripts. But the thing is that you really, it's not 1 unit of conscripts isn't really worth it on its own. You kind of want more than 1 unit of conscripts. Now, with the Elite of Inquisition, they also have a psychic power that also is only 4 warp charge, called Psychic Fortitude. Different name, different power. Okay, it used to be called Mental Fortitude as well in the old index. It's been renamed to Psychic Fortitude. I believe that is on purpose to distinguish it from the guard power. So now that you're allowed to cast both powers, because before it was like, well, one is Mental Fortitude in one book, one is Mental Fortitude in another book. It's the same name, same effect. You can't cast both powers. Now there's no doubt, same effect, different name, allowed to do it. So that means you can have 2 units of Fearless Conscripts, and if you're willing to spend 2 CP on them, although I don't think they're really worth it, if you're willing to spend 2 CP on them, you could always do Insane Heroism and make a 3rd unit Fearless. And Guard aren't exactly short of CP. And the fact that in the Inquisition you can farm command points, and in the Guard codes you can farm command points, that's actually looking quite good. But I think personally, two squads is enough. 2 squads is enough, because you want to be thinking about the super blob as well, where I would have 2 squads of conscripts, and then a squad of guardsmen, 2 squads of guardsmen which you consolidate together to make a 20-man squad, which you then put the another psychic power on, which gives them a 5+ invulnerable save. So suddenly you've got 3 blocks of guys, 3 blobs of guys. Blob Guard is coming back, I think. And what that allows you to do, just looking at the conscripts though, because you can always put that 5+ invulnerable save on the conscripts. What that allows you to do is to field 2 blobs of Fearless Infantry. And sure, they're going to die, but what they are going to do is they just provide you with bodies. Now, some of you might be saying, but I'm not short of bodies. I can take 3 battalions. This is true. You can take 3 battalions, but it's going to sound weird, right? But coming from a pure infantry point of view, or even a hybrid point of view, right? 3 battalions doesn't really give you enough troop slots. It's only 18. Only 18. Which means you can only field realistically 180. If you look at this from a pure infantry point of view, you can only field 180 good infantry. Okay, which you'll burn through surprisingly quickly. Okay, you will do. So you can only field 18 good infantry, and then what you tend to find after that, which doesn't cost you a lot of points, by the way. I mean, 18 times 40 is only 720 points. You've still got 1,300 points to play with, right? And what I end up finding happening with my pure infantry army is I buy my 18 infantry squads, and then I'm kind of trying to fill the points. So I'll take command squads, and then I'll take special weapons squads, and then I'll take, and it's like, well, no, command squads, they're little bitty. No, special weapons squads, big no, not when I'm foot guarding it. They just die. They never do anything. So what I'm doing is almost like spending points for the sake of it, which is not good. Now I'll take 3 squads of veterans on top of that as well, because they're basically slightly better line infantry. So I've got 210 infantry. That's an okay amount, but you really want to be looking at that. That does shoehorn your veterans into a maybe potentially limited role. Really, what you want to be looking at is 250 men minimum. I mean, how I'm imagining this now working is if you take your 18 infantry squads and give them some decent weapons, heavy weapons, special weapon, good fire support, you could then take your 3 squads of veterans as well, and then take 2 blobs of conscripts. You're on 260 men. 260 men, which some of you might be thinking, that's 70 men, sorry, 270 men. But if you add that, which is a lot, some of you might be thinking that's a lot of points, but if you add the base points cost of all that together, so the conscripts are 240, the infantry is 720, and the veterans are 150, all that, 260 men. You couldn't take, some of you would be telling this comments now, you couldn't take 80 squads of infantry and 2 squads of conscripts, you're correct, so minus 40, minus 40. So you've got 16 good squads of infantry, 3 squads of veterans, and 60 conscripts, which will bring you to 250 men, which is, as I just said, is the level you want to be aiming at. 250 men. 1,030 points. That's how much that will cost you. And you've taken your army from being 210 line infantry, or 18 line infantry. You've taken that to 250. You've increased it by 25%. That's 25% more bodies that your opponent has to chew through, because the little bits of squads here and there, the special weapons, the collectors, they die so easily. They don't even count. They just die, and they don't bring anything to the table, because they often die and they give away a lot of points in ITC as well. A lot of points in ITC. So you've got 250 guys here for 1,030 points, and all of them are line infantry. All of them. Conscripts are still line infantry. They still have a very important role to do. All of them are line infantry. Now, you could then just take 4 tank commanders if you wanted to. But you need to add your Inquisitor in and your Psyker in. My point is you've then got basically 1,000 points to spend on upgrades. That is insanely good. That is insanely good. Heavy weapon squads on top of this as well. If you play this right, you could be looking at a 300-man guard army at 2k. That is scary. And what you've got to remember is a lot of these guys. If we use our speed techniques of playing, so you make all your squads homogeneous. You're not having they're all identical. You've got your pre-forged battle plan. You do the same thing every game, kind of thing. You just do that. You could take that to a 2k tournament with a chess clock, and you'd be all right. Movement trays, all that shit. You'd be absolutely fine. No problems. You just know exactly what you do every single time. That is insane. That is actually insane. And that's what I'm planning on doing. I never thought I'd say this. Not me, not Mordian Glory. I never thought I'd say that. But I'm going to have to check. I have enough infantry. I'm going to have to check I have enough riflemen. And it will be hilarious if I had to go out and buy more riflemen. It'll be actually hilarious. I think I'm just going to end up having to use the bloody Gene Stealer Cult neophytes that I've got. They're going to have to become bloody Savlar Chemdog conscripts. I think that's the only thing I can do. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some food for thought. You've got multiple ways you can get conscripts on the field now. You can give them a 5+ invulnerable save as well. You can then up that 5+ invulnerable save to -1. You've got so many things that the Inquisition can bring, but one of the things they allow you to do is to cheaply make your conscripts very viable. That's something that's very interesting. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And please leave comments. Let me know what you think down below. And of course, I will see you guys next time.